Hello and welcome back to the Melge Gaming YouTube channel. Today we're going to spend a bit of time going through what I consider to be the 5 most useful plugins for OBS Studio. Now, whilst we spend some time going through this topic, I want you to keep one thing in mind, and that is that content is king, and that no amount of plugins or visual effects will truly improve your content. But that said, it should give you an edge over the other competition, with all other things being equal. Now, before we dive into the detail on this video, I just want to take a second to remind you all that I am aiming to put out 2 videos a month aimed at helping newer and smaller streamers improve their streams. So if that sounds like something that would be of interest to you, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications to get notified when the future videos go live. And on that note, if you also have any suggestions or ideas for videos, any information that you would like to see me cover, then please let me know in the comments. But for now, let's get into it. Now, plugin number 1 is OBS WebSocket. If you've seen the video that I've done for Lumia Stream over on their YouTube channel, link in the description, then you will know what OBS WebSocket is. If you've not seen that video, a brief description of it would be, it allows other applications and devices to control parts of OBS. So one way that I use OBS WebSocket is I allow Lumia Stream to control scene changes inside of OBS. So when users come in and type certain things into my chat, Lumia Stream will recognize that and use OBS WebSocket to send an instruction to OBS to change the scene. There's a whole load of things you can do with it. I think Touch Portal will need the OBS WebSocket as well. Anything that is requiring an external application or device to control parts of OBS will need OBS WebSocket. To install OBS WebSocket, head to the link in the description, scroll down to OBS WebSocket 4.8.0. I mean, the version number may have changed by now. Presumably you're on Windows and you're looking for the Windows installer. Download it and run it, and make a note of your port number and password, as you're going to need those bits of information when you're using the OBS WebSocket with another program or device. Plugin number 2 is Transition Table. Now, if you're anything like me, you've got a ton of scenes inside of OBS, and you're always having to change your active transition to make sure you're getting the right transition for the right scene swaps, and it can get really fiddly. Now, I've been looking for a solution to this for a while, and I did find something that would allow me to set my transition from my Stream Deck, so I could press a button and have it go to a cut transition, and press another button and have it go to a fade transition. But I still had to remember, what transition do I need? Have I put it in? And it all got a little bit complex. Transition Table allows you to predefine which transition will be used when switching from one specific scene to another specific scene. So let's just say that we have 4 scenes. We'll call them scene A, B, C, and D. Transition Table will allow us to define what transition should be used if we swap from scene A to scene B. Let's say we'll make scene A to scene B a cut transition. It will also allow us to define what we use from scene A to scene C. Let's call that a fade. And scene A to scene D could be a stinger. And then scene D to scene C might be a fade. And scene C to scene B might be a cut. You get the idea. You predefine all of this in a table, which we'll show you in a minute. And then you leave it alone. You never have to touch it again. It will automatically apply the correct transition to the relevant scene change for you. So to install Transition Table, head to the link in the description, hit download in the top right. Once downloaded and installed, head to OBS Studio and click Tools Transition Table. When you open it, you'll see a few fields to select from drop-downs. From dictates the scene you are on right now, the scene you are switching from. To dictates the scene that you're going to be switching to. Transition dictates the type of transition that you want to be used when this particular scene switch takes place. You have the usual duration field, which dictates how long the transition will take. Once you're happy with your choices, click Set, and this adds your selection to the transition table. Repeat for any other scenes as necessary. Now, Transition Table will monitor your scenes and switches and trigger the appropriate transition automatically. Plugin number 3 is a really popular and really powerful one, and it's called StreamFX. StreamFX is a powerful plugin that allows you to manipulate your sources in ways that would otherwise not be possible. By using StreamFX, you can add a blur to certain sources. You can move sources on a 3D plane, which we'll demonstrate for you in a minute. You can even add drop shadows to things like your webcam frame. To install StreamFX, follow the link in the description. Scroll down until you see StreamFX Windows 2019.exe. Again, the version may have changed by now. But find that StreamFX Windows.exe file, download it and run it. Windows may give you a warning. Ignore the warning. I assure you it is perfectly safe, and proceed with the installation. Once installed, open OBS and you should see that if you select a source and go to filters, that you have some additional options now. The most commonly used one are the blur filter, allowing you to blur anything that you like. This can be useful for a number of things, including privacy and just to have a bit of fun. There's also the 3D transform, which I love. I think it's awesome. It allows you to move your source on a 3D plane, so not just the usual up, down, left, right that you get by default with OBS. You can actually move it on an x-axis, as you can see here, and that can make for some really cool and interesting effects. You've also got the SDF effect, which will allow you to add drop shadows and highlights around any sources. StreamFX is a very powerful tool that everybody should have in their toolbox. Very useful. Plugin number 4 is Audio Monitor, and I know that this is something people have been craving for a very, very long time. Now, there are software alternatives out there like Voicemeeter, and full disclosure here, I still use Voicemeeter. I prefer it. It gives me a lot more options, but it's a lot more complex, and it's way more than most people need. So if you're just looking for a simple way to separate out your audio, for you to be able to hear certain things in your stream, not to hear them, or vice versa, then this Audio Monitor plugin is what you're after. To install Audio Monitor, click the link in the description below, click download in the top right hand corner and run the installer. Now, if you click on the settings cog on an audio source inside of OBS and go to advanced audio properties, you'll see the option for audio monitoring that is natively included with OBS. This sends the audio to the monitoring device that you have defined in File, Settings, Audio. And under the advanced section, you have the monitoring device. However, with this new plugin, you can click on the cog and select properties and add an audio/visual filter, and you'll see the option for audio monitor. Select this and you'll immediately be able to select which device you want to route the audio monitoring to, and you can even independently control the volume, meaning you can turn it down in your headphones or on the monitoring device without turning it down for the stream. Really, really handy and way simpler than Voicemeeter. As I say, full disclosure, I do still use Voicemeeter. I love the functionality of it, but it can be a bit of a pain to set up. If you're not tech savvy and you're looking for a simple, easy way of splitting out your audio, then this is the plugin for you. Now, plugin number 5 is not just one plugin. It's a bit of a lie that we've told here. We're gonna open up a whole world of plugins for you with VSTs. VST stands for Virtual Studio Technology. And if any of you out there are music tech buffs like I am, then you already know all about VSTs. VSTs are commonplace in professional audio recording, and they aim to use digital signal processing in a way that emulates physical studio hardware in a software setting. As an example, today we're going to be installing a VST equalizer to help us manipulate the sound of our microphone. But VSTs are not just limited to equalizers. You could get reverb or compressors or any number of studio hardware emulated into software. A quick Google search on VST plugins and you'll be overwhelmed with the number of choices that are available. So to get started with installing our VST equalizer, head to the link in the description to download Vox&Go Marvel GEQ. Once you're there, click to download the VST VST3 AAX for Windows. Once downloaded, run the installer and make sure it installs it into the Program Files, Common Files, VST2 folder. It must be installed here for it to work. Now, open OBS, click on the cog for an audio source, preferably your mic, and click Filters. Right-click to add a VST filter and select Marvel GEQ from the drop-down menu. Now click Open Plugin Interface. You should now see that you have the Marvel EQ interface available for your microphone, and you can tweak the different frequency bands to adjust your sound accordingly. This should be the same process for pretty much any VST that's out there, and there are loads, so get creative. And that brings an end to our time looking at 5 powerful plugins for OBS that will help you take your stream to the next level. If you're using any OBS plugins that didn't make it into this video, but you feel that they should have or that they deserve a mention, then let us know in the comments. I want to find out about what plugins you're using to level up your streams as well. As always, if you enjoyed the video, then please take a moment to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment, all that good stuff that helps with the algorithm. Make sure that you do subscribe and turn on notifications to get notified when the future videos go live. And thanks for watching.